Hello everybody, and welcome back to Steven's Fight Show. What's going on, guys? How you guys doing? You guys miss me? Cause I missed you guys. Nah, probably not. You guys can't even see my face anyways. Alright, so in this video, we're going to be talking about the long-awaited grudge match between David Benavidez and Caleb Plant. It finally got settled in the ring, and it was an amazing fight. I was so excited when this fight first got announced because not only were these two great fighters at super middleweight, their genuine hatred for each other was very entertaining to see. There's a reason why we love to watch fights just like this one, fights that sell. But what do we exactly mean when we say that? It means we love to see fights where two guys are jawing at each other and constantly talking trash to one another. When we see something like that, it almost guarantees that they'll bring the fight to each other, and as a result, you as a fan get to witness a great fight, which is what happened between Caleb Plant and David Benavidez. Caleb Plant was a former champion in this division, and he had a crazy comeback when he knocked out Anthony Dirrell in a devastating fashion after losing to Canelo Alvarez. The way he was able to enter range by establishing the jab, attacking the body with a left hook, and then coming upstairs with a devastating hook to the chin was beautiful. But obviously we know David Benavidez has been on a tear. The guy hasn't lost, and he is a phenomenal fighter. He not only has power, but he knows how to finish a fight. That's the thing about David Benavidez, is that it's not the power that really makes him dangerous. It's his IQ to know how to break down a fighter to unlock the finish. I don't believe his power is what only finishes a fight. His pressure, inside fighting, and combination punching are one of the best in boxing, and arguably, you could say he's the best 168 pounder in the world. Obviously, a certain former pound for pound Mexican champ would like to say something about that, but if that's the case, then let's see it happen. That's what boxing needs, so we'll see. Now, going back to this fight, another thing that I would like to mention is the fact that this fight was brilliant for boxing. This was probably boxing's second W this year. I'm saying that because I thought Beterbiev versus Yard was a very good fight, and even though nobody really asked for that fight, I'm pretty sure a lot of boxing fans enjoyed it. However, this fight really elevated boxing slowly right back to where it should be. Because think about it, what is the biggest problem in boxing right now? Like, I don't even have to say it, you already know what it is, but I'ma say it anyways. The best don't fight each other. It's clear as day that that is the problem. But Caleb Plant and David Benavidez were confident enough to step into the ring with each other and settle their differences. If you're a new fan of boxing, you're probably not aware of the beef between these two. It's been ongoing for years, the animosity was authentic, and that's what people loved. Which pertains to what I said earlier about the public wanting to see this fight for this specific reason, which leads to more excitement in the sport of boxing again. There's no better feeling as a combat sports fan to see two fighters who you know are the best in the division just leaving it all out in the ring against each other. You see both fighters exhausted, busted up, and shaking hands at the end of the fight. That is what creates long-lasting combat sports fans. Fights where you're able to stay up and continue to talk about the fight because it was so good, those are the moments that you'll remember forever. And I'm just so glad that boxing fans got to experience that again, because with all these great boxers on the pound for pound list, none of them want to fight each other and put on a show for the fans. And shout out to Caleb Plant, man, because he's mentioned many times that he wants to be a throwback fighter that rolls the dice against the best. And he very much embodied that statement. Absolute warrior of a man that is. But anyways, let's speak about the fight. So in this fight, I didn't have time to upload a prediction video, but I thought Benavidez was going to stop him in the 8th round. And ironically, he probably would have if Kenny Bayless wasn't bugging. However, I thought the fight was going to be a bit more of a back and forth affair. I thought throughout the fight, Caleb Plant was going to have success, and that David Benavidez was going to get it right back. I truly believed prior to the fight that Plant could have gotten it done. He boxed very well against Anthony Dirrell, and his style matched up very well against Benavidez. He's primarily an outboxer, meaning he loves to box on the outside and use lateral movement to avoid punches. He's got a good jab, and he uses it very well and frequently. He likes to use in and out movement where he picks his entries and exits very nicely. Combinations that involve a lot of straight punches are what Plant is good at. That's why in this fight, the 2-1 combination kept catching Benavidez many times. And from there, it can set up his hooks, which is how he finished Anthony Dirrell. With that being said, for the first half of the fight, Plant was winning it by doing everything that I just mentioned. He was scoring very well and maintained very good ring generalship. The jab was keeping Benavidez at distance, and he had a hard time getting a hold of Caleb Plant because of the constant sticking and moving. Benavidez was repeatedly reaching with punches, and Plant was defending against punches very well. Once the jab was established, that's when he would put punches behind it. The right hand was breaking the guard, and the left hook also landed many times as well. If I had to describe how Plant was boxing, I would say he was boxing pretty. He was making Benavidez look a little desperate in some rounds of the fight. But even though Plant had a lot of success, Benavidez was building his rocket launcher during those rounds. he was slowly getting closer and closer to Plant by cutting off the ring better. He made a good adjustment by not opening up too early with punches before establishing the position of having Plant where he wants him to be. There was a moment in the 6th round where Benavidez trapped Plant in the corner and then opened up with punches. That was the turning point in my opinion for David Benavidez. He was also covering more ground by staying low and getting underneath the lead hand from Caleb Plant and throwing punches from different angles. Ultimately, this was very important for Benavidez because this is what he's good at, breaking people down, and it opened up a lot of effective body shot opportunities for him. Before that, he was reaching with a lot of right hands to the body, which didn't really seem to affect Plant's movement. And considering how the fight ended, imagine if he would have gotten a hold of Caleb earlier. If he would have attacked that gas tank earlier, it could have been way uglier. Another thing that he was doing was catching and shooting a lot, which was great because it prevented Plant from entering range so easily. And after the 6th round, that's when Benavidez started to slowly fire bombs for a few reasons. Those reasons are the weaknesses of Caleb Plant. As phenomenal of a boxer that he is, his weaknesses gave Benavidez a clear path to beating him. He is a great outside fighter, but his inside game is very weak. And we saw it when the fight was on the inside. I don't think there was one exchange where Caleb got the better of it when the fight was at that short range or inside the clinch. There were times when Plant didn't land a jab coming in and opted to clinch right away to forestall Benavidez from executing on the inside. When that happened, Caleb's head was located right next to Benavidez' left shoulder. This means that Plant's head is in line for a short right hand inside the clinch that Benavidez kept catching him with over and over again. It's the same punch that wobbled him in the 8th round. And what Plant should have done was roll right under it and create an angle to continue to box. Another weakness from Caleb Plant is ironic because it's the one thing that makes him great, but it's also the one thing that damages him. It's his style. As I said earlier, Caleb Plant has a pretty boxing style where he likes to box on the outside while sticking to moving. But the reality is that style requires so much energy. To stay on your toes and move your legs side to side like that, it's very demanding cardio wise. To do that for 12 straight rounds is absolutely insane. You have to be conditioned to the max. This was what I was nervous about from Caleb Plant, and you can see that he was starting to slow down from his own fighting style in the middle of the fight, whereas Benavidez was conserving his energy all this time. The last weakness from Caleb Plant is that he does not represent a strong or powerful fighter. Yes, he knocked out Anthony Durrell. It was a hard punch, but it was set up through his boxing prowess, not just pure power. Because of the way Plant fights, he doesn't normally punch with power. Against Benavidez, who's the bigger fighter that punches a lot harder, when Plant attacked, Benavidez was just able to easily raise the tight and strong high guard to pick off all of Plant's punches. Benavidez took very little damage when Plant had success early on, and even when Plant landed clean as well. That was also one of the biggest questions about Benavidez, the defensive ability, but I thought he looked solid defensively. It wasn't fancy, but it didn't need to be. A tight high guard is such an underrated skill in boxing, and it helped Benavidez to avoid getting hit in this fight. All of the weaknesses that I just mentioned are what contributed to a brutal second half of the fight for Caleb Plant. Immediately, Benavidez was able to walk him down into the ropes where he was landing power punches and combos. It didn't matter if Benavidez was either making the right moves or mistakes because Plant was slowing down heavily and he never regained control of the fight from there. It was honestly insane to watch. He looked like a completely different fighter. Everything was out of the window for Caleb Plant. The jab, the lateral movement, the upper body movement, etc. He was a straight stationary fighter that kept clinching for dear life just so Benavidez couldn't tee off on him. He was also busted up badly too. I don't think Plant even won one round in the second half of the fight, and I genuinely don't know how he didn't get stopped. Or he probably would have if Kenny Bayless didn't falsely separate them in the 8th round. But regardless, this was a great victory for Benavidez. He still has a lot to work on, but he has a lot of potential. He didn't get discouraged early on in the fight, kept his composure very well, made some crucial adjustments, and displayed a dominant pressure-heavy inside game in the second half of this fight. He's only 26, and to think he can still get better is absolutely nuts. The sky is the limit for him, and I can't wait to see how his career continues to unfold. And kudos to Caleb Plant, man. He's a warrior, a straight G. One of the only few fighters in the world that are great and willing to face anyone out there. He never ran and he never will, which is why we love Caleb Plant. I'm super excited to see where both fighters go from here, and hopefully we still continue to see great fights just like this one, because if that's the case, it's only up for boxing. And that is it, guys. Thank you guys so much for listening to what I have to say, and let me know, who is next for David Benavidez after a performance like this against Caleb Plant? And on the other hand, who would you like to see Caleb Plant face next? Drop a comment and let me know in the comment section down below. Now, if you guys enjoy content that is related to combat sports, please drop a like on this video and subscribe to my YouTube channel down below. That would be greatly appreciated. Please follow my blog and my Twitter. The links are in the description down below. If you enjoy fight content just like this one, then you won't be disappointed to see all the content that I have posted on there. Please scope it out and let me know what you think. And other than that, it's been Steven, signing out. Peace!